Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
Well, hello. Good day, good evening, depending on where you are in the country. Welcome to Overcoming Family. I'm Lindsay Glass.
And I'm Leslie Glass.
We are a mother-daughter writing team. Overcoming Family dives into real talk on healing family wounds. Mothers, fathers, siblings, children, in-laws. We're here to give honest insights, expert tools, and hope to transform your toughest and often most important relationships.
Today, we're talking about one of the most destabilizing family experiences there is, when family members rewrite history. And we know all about this.
Yes, we certainly do.
This is something we've experienced in our own family and have the utmost compassion for. So this is how it happens. If you remember something that happened, your body remembers what happened, but the person who was there with you looks you straight in the face and says, that never happened. Or, if you're hurting, you're too sensitive. Or, you remember it completely wrong. And suddenly, the conversation isn't about the original hurt or what happened. It's about whether you can trust your own reality. This isn't just frustrating. This is deeply unsettling.
So, we were actually talking a little bit. I'm going to unpack for a quick second before we launch.
Yeah.
We were talking about it before the show, and we were trying to remember throughout our lives who we'd had this experiences with. And we had it with each other. We just want to open with that. But one of the incredible parts of mother-daughter healing and the books we write and all the processes we do is we actually were able, even though we remembered things differently, in our recovery to accept each other's point of view, even though we didn't always, see it exactly the same way. And that's such a big part of making this all, work in the end run. But let's get into, let's back up and talk about, why this cuts so deep, why this is such a problematic thing. And it's really because when family members deny or rewrite the past, it doesn't just create conflict. What does it create?
It creates self-doubt.
Exactly.
You just don't know whether you're right or not.
Yeah. and this is when am I crazy? Am I exaggerating? Did I imagine it? And why does this still affect me if it wasn't such a big deal?
Right. And the reason this hurts so much is simple. Families are supposed to be in the same place where your reality is reflected back at you. But I just want to make one point before we go on, Lindsay, and that is that in every single situation where people remember things differently, they have a different point of view because there may be an age difference, and the mothers,
No, it's true. There are lots of different reasons people are going to remember it, and we'll get into all of it. But, the first thing we want to do is sort of explain that there's a difference between rewriting history and misremembering. Do you agree?
I do agree, yes.
So I think with you and me, a lot of what happened was misremembering, and for the reasons that we'll get into later. But not every disagreement about the past is gaslighting. Sometimes people genuinely remember events differently. And, what you were just going to get into is here are some of the things that can complicate.
Yeah, well, mental health, alcohol or drug use, we know that certainly complicates
So
it.
let's stop there for a quick second, because one of the things we were talking about earlier is, we were both drinkers, I was a substance abuser, and basically when you're doing that, you don't remember anything.
Well, also you may be wanting to hide your youth or hide what you're doing, hide what you've done.
What do you mean by that? Oh, so you don't want to admit it later on.
You're imagining that I was out until 3 a.m, Mom, or...
Because I don't want to remember it correctly.
Exactly. Or you were out on the town with a friend of yours, and you're telling me 3 days later that didn't happen.
Yeah, well, that was like lying at the time. This is...
Right, but there is an element of gaslighting that happens when there is mental health or...
Oh, yeah, you're right.
That's basically what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, you're right.
We stopped at the whole thing of mental health, alcohol, or drug use when you're gaslighting somebody because you don't want them to know what the truth is.
All right, well, I would say this. I would say you can be gaslighting people. I would also say when you are active in those things, it's really an obsession of the mind. You are tuned out. You are not, connected to the people around you. And I can speak for myself. When I was active in addiction, I was not thinking about your feelings or what was really happening. Mm-hmm. And I think that could terribly impact one's memory.
Yeah, your memory.
Completely self-obsessed.
Exactly.
And maybe you do remember it the way you want to remember it. Like, oh, it wasn't that bad,
Yeah.
And it really was. So the other thing that I was thinking about and I wanted us to talk about is a traumatic event that somebody in the family can be going through. So, for example.
All right, a mother going through a brutal divorce can tell you this is something that actually happened to me. A mother going through a brutal divorce. It took over my whole attention away from other things.
Well, I wasn't speaking to you, but
I know. But when we think about a traumatic event, something like a divorce,
yeah,
a divorce where you're experiencing perhaps my oversharing,
anything like that. So, any kind of traumatic event, severe PTSD. These things could cause you to really, not be connected to reality.
Not remembering how it affected somebody else or what's happening.
Yeah. And as I said before, a teen or a young adult who's drinking or in addiction has no idea what other family members are experiencing as a result of their behavior.
Yeah.
So it can get very tricky. But there is a key difference between rewriting history and misremembering. And the key difference is that healthy disagreement allows room for multiple truths.
My truth and your truth, for example.
Yeah. So, you were able to say things that made me very uncomfortable, and even were hard to hear for a while, but I accepted it. Having a child who is an addict can be scary.
Yeah, very scary.
And addicts can behave in ways that are abusive to other people, even when they don't mean it.
Yeah, exactly.
Simply by being in active addiction, the yelling, the screaming, the hiding, all of these things can cause you to behave in ways that are really painful for other people.
Exactly.
And then what's the other one?
The other one is harmful rewriting, which shuts down the conversation completely.
Okay, and that really is kind of gaslighting.
Yeah.
And harmful rewriting is when somebody says that never happened. They have no curiosity or accountability, and it's no longer about memory. It's actually about trying to control
or manipulation.
Yeah.
We never went on that holiday to Hawaii where, X happened.
Yeah. Okay. So next, we are going to talk a little bit about the emotional cost, because there's a huge emotional cost to this. And I think we need to give some examples. So let's break this down. All right. So living with rewritten history often leads to, you want to share the first one?
You just doubt yourself. You truly don't know if what you experienced is real.
Okay. So let's talk about all the ways that this can happen. I grew up with somebody who had experienced child abuse. And the family kind of had a mixed reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
So there were people in her family who acknowledged that it happened and wanted her to get healing and treatment, and there were other members of the family who really wanted to brush it under the rug and, you know, make it go away. And this is probably one of the more traumatic things that can happen to a child,
because it's erasing your reality.
Yeah.
It's just making you think you're not validated in any way.
It goes so far beyond that, because like these are the people who are supposed to keep you safe, and like not only are they not able to keep you safe, but they're actually re-traumatizing you over and over and over. So, is the dog all right?
The dog just threw up.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, gross. Well, that's what happens when you have the dog on your lap and you're doing radio. Okay, so chronic self-doubt because you truly don't know if what you experienced is real. This can also happen with a parent who's struggling with mental health issues.
Right. And if somebody is blaming you for something or claiming that you're responsible, you're over-explaining because you think you always have to be heard, right?
Yes, but yeah, and FYI, I really want to explain that over-explaining is like a notification for people. It really often signals to the wrong people that maybe you can be walked on or manipulated. Don't be an over-explainer in the world. And I say that from personal experience. I really think when you go into a work setting or even, you know, a new relationship and you're the one that's, you know, saying you're sorry or, you know, over-explaining when normal things happen, like you're going to be late for a good reason.
Right.
And suddenly you're, you know, just going over and over why it happened. And it's really not a big deal.
But you feel you have to defend yourself. Over-explaining often has to do with feeling that you're to blame for something, and you need to defend yourself. It's a terrible feeling.
Yeah, but I truly think when you go out into the world and you're over-explaining, it is like a notification to people that you're somebody that can be, you have no boundaries.
It's interesting, yeah, and that happens often with oversharers as well.
Yeah, so, you know, a lot of this stuff, let's be honest, well, some of these things we're talking about are people who have been victimized, right?
Yep.
So this is like victim stuff, and I don't mean it in the negative way of, oh, you're acting like a victim. These people are being, you know, when people are gaslighting you and not accepting your reality, you're kind of being victimized. So if you're going out in the world and you're letting people know that you've been victimized before,
it's a red flag.
Yeah. I think it's a red flag to healthy people.
Yes.
And I think it's a green flag to unhealthy people that you can be messed with.
Well, let's talk about another result, and that is you're always rehearsing conversations with this person that never are resolved.
So, yeah.
An overthinker or an over-explainer, you're going over these conversations or these accusations over and over and over.
So you're guilty of that.
I'm an over-explainer.
No, we're going over the conversation.
I know.
So let's talk about it a little bit, because you do that more than I do, actually.
Going over negative conversations or positive ones, or all conversations?
Rehearsing conversations that never resolve. So it's like,
oh, yeah.
You know, post-divorce, you were having conversations.
It was because, and when you have conversations like that, it's because the person you want to talk to, you can't talk to.
Yeah, they won't listen.
They won't listen. And this is one of the major conflicts between mothers and daughters or family members where they end up with no conflict. Because if the person that you love, you can't talk to, and you're talking to them with someone else or going over the conversations again and again in your head, it's because you can't talk to that person.
Yeah, and it kind of sets you up for kind of deep isolation in a relationship, kind of loneliness and isolation. I also think it's like that repetition, right? If you weren't heard growing up, and you find yourself in relationships where you're not being heard, and then you're having these conversations with other people again. It's like...
But if it's happening again, or it's happening now, you constantly feel you have to prove your pain. You have to prove that you're being hurt. And when people aren't listening to you, you're repeating things over and over because you aren't heard, and you need to prove that you have these feelings of hurt.
That is such a trigger for me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, when I'm talking to somebody and it's clear they have to prove their pain. Yeah. Maybe because we kind of had a dysfunctional situation growing up, and maybe because I was guilty of it. It drives me crazy when other people do it.
Interesting.
It's like such a trigger for me. Because in my adult self, you don't have to prove your pain to me. Just tell me what's going on.
Yeah, tell me what's happening.
And I'm there. I'll help. You don't actually have to beat me over the head. Again, I think it signals some victimhood stuff, the unresolved.
So what happens? What's the eventual, ultimate result of when people rewrite history? What is it? What happens?
Well, I think eventually it shuts you up.
Yeah.
Many people will stop speaking up, and it's not because they've healed, but truly because they're exhausted.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about exhaustion for a minute.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I've been feeling exhausted lately because we've got some family stuff going on in our family that is not resolvable. With somebody who's just very, very sick, and it's just incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
And I think whether it's a romantic relationship or dysfunctional relationship or just, when you can't speak up, I think it takes a toll on your physical health.
I agree. I mean, you can't tell the truth. You're stoppering yourself up, and you begin to boil inside.
This is also where people can start to self-medicate.
Yeah.
A drink can seem really helpful in these moments.
Right. Stomachache.
Yeah.
Fatigue.
Yeah. And it's underneath, it's a mental health thing. So today we're going to be unpacking the difference between gaslighting and differing memories, because there is a big difference.
And why that never happened. Being told that is so damaging and sticks with you. You can get stuck in it.
Yeah. And at the very end, we're going to do our favorite, what we're famous for at our company, Reach Out Recovery, which is, our practical tools. How to deal with this and how to stay grounded without getting pulled into endless arguments, because this is really about keeping yourself safe and not re-traumatizing yourself if you do have a situation where people aren't remembering your memories. But we have some announcements I want to get into here before we break for commercial. First of all, Leslie and I are the authors of the Mother-Daughter Relationship Makeover, 4 Steps to Heal the Love, and the follow-up Mother-Daughter Workbook for Lasting Change. Our first book was at Oprah's Book Club pick, and both books have been therapist recommended. We've been in People, Business Insider, The Telegraph, Daily Mail. I think we've done over 60 media appearances for these books. Well, we have been chosen to be guest speakers at the Mending Spaces Retreat. This is in Lake Tahoe in May over Mother's Day weekend. This is with the famous Dr. Joshua Coleman, the foremost expert on family alienation in this country. He is on Oprah regularly. So it turns out they have 3 spaces left.
Yeah, we're so excited.
So there are going to be, Dr. Coleman's going to be there. Yeah. They have major therapists, guest speakers, keynote speakers. We are the guest family seekers. So if anyone is interested in learning more about that, it's going to be incredible. Again, it's in Lake Tahoe. It is over Mother's Day weekend. I will find the dates during the...
It's May 8th, 9th, and 10th, I think.
Okay,
Friday.
May 8th, 9th, and 10th, but they do have 3 spots left, which is a shocker because this is kind of a coveted thing. So if you are a mother who is alienated from a child, any age, and want to participate in this, please email me. Email me at info@reachoutrecovery.com. Again, that's info@reachoutrecovery.com, and I will forward you to the women who run the retreat. We want you to go to our website, Reach Out Recovery. We want you to sign up for our newsletter because, as we shared, these books that we write, we have a line of 6 books, are therapist recommended. They are meant for regular people who want self-help, but also treatment centers, rehab, family wellness, and clinicians. We are now offering mental health professional discounts.
Yeah, bulk
Discounts, anything for your practice, and if you want samples, I might just give them to you.
Oh, you are?
So don't go away. Come back. In segment 2, we're going to be talking about gaslighting versus different memories, and we want you to come back and hear us. Okay? Be back soon.
Stop enabling, being codependent, and being in a dysfunctional family dynamic. If this sounds like something you need, then ReachOutRecovery.com can help. A pioneer in providing wellness information and resources which address not only addiction and recovery, but mental health and relationships. ReachOutRecovery.com is your first stop for help, with over 2,000 easy-to-understand mental health and relationship articles, and award-winning self-help books, courses, and so much more. So don't wait. Visit ReachOutRecovery.com and get the help you need now. Stop enabling, being codependent, and being in a dysfunctional family dynamic. If this sounds like something you need, then ReachOutRecovery.com can help. A pioneer in providing wellness information and resources which address not only addiction and recovery, but mental health and relationships. ReachOutRecovery.com is your first stop for help, with over 2,000 easy-to-understand mental health and relationship articles, and award-winning self-help books, courses, and so much more. So don't wait. Visit ReachOutRecovery.com and get the help you need now.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
There's a place called ReachOutRecovery.com, and here there is a wonderful store which has a plethora of transformative books, posters, and downloads for recovery and personal growth. There's fun things with purpose, too, like a gorgeous best-selling coloring book with journal prompts for step work healing, teen guide to health, and workbooks recommended by Oprah's Book Club. Come to ReachOutRecovery.com and visit their store. There's bound to be something you, a family member, or a friend can use. Go there now, the store at ReachOutRecovery.com. Leslie and Lindsay Glass offer a curriculum of transformational tools with 3 other books. It's a way to learn information with fun activities, discussions, journaling, and more. Whether you are an individual or a group, these curriculums have been taught successfully in recovery and reentry programs all over the country. The Teen Guide to Health and 100 Tips for Growing Up is perfect for any group working with teens. Leslie and Lindsay can even customize curriculums and teacher trainers. To get more info, use the Contact Us tab at ReachOutRecovery.com.
The bright side of talk. HealthyLife.net.
Welcome back to Overcoming Family. We're so glad you're here. Today we're talking about when family members don't have the same memories.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say, if anybody is listening and would like to call in because they have a family member who won't acknowledge the memories, please call in at 310-370-4809. Again, 310-370-4809. We'd always love to hear from you. Okay, but back to the show. gaslighting versus different memories, okay? So what we're focusing on here is clarity and not accusation. So what happened and not accusing people of what even you think might happen, okay?
Yes. Well, memory is imperfect, but denial is intentional. So let's discuss. Have you ever had a situation where you felt their denial was intentional?
Okay, I put that question in. We both have to answer this,
Okay.
and take a minute or two to answer this. So I'll go first. As I said before, you and I had a lot of conflict around this, but I think that was in the years when we were playing the blaming game and we had to be right. And I think as we went into recovery and learned how to communicate better, we were able to understand each other's point of view and experience, and that has been a huge part of our ability to heal and forgive. So believe us when we say we don't minimize how important this is. I have had this unresolved more in romantic relationships. So I had a significant romantic relationship that broke up, and I really felt and feel unresolved to this day because I felt I had memories of things he said he never said. I had memories of things that happened on vacations that he said didn't happen. And he just wasn't able to give me any space around those things. So I was shut down. I often felt humiliated. I think it was a big impasse in our relationship because when you experience pain and suffering from somebody and they say, I didn't do that and that didn't happen, and I went through all of the normal, like, am I crazy? Am I too emotional? But I had enough knowledge from our own recovery work, I'm a certified coach, to know at a certain point, okay, this person is gaslighting me, and now I have a choice about what to do. And I just want to add, knowing that I was being gaslighted, I still tried to sit him down and have some honest communication, and I failed miserably.
Well, I would say in a case like that, Lindsay, it's an example of somebody who does not want to take responsibility for what's happening in a relationship. That is one truth. Now, you described something that also happened to me in a long-term relationship, and this was somebody who said incredibly hurtful things, and then said they never said them.
Yeah.
Like I would say, where do you want to go on vacation? And I would say, I'd like to go to Spain. And then you'd end up in Russia.
Well, that's not hurtful. But
well, it is hurtful because you never get to have a choice.
Oh, fair enough.
And if you never get to have a choice and you're offered something and then you have to have something else and then you say down the road, I really want to go to Spain. You never said that.
Right.
That is
okay.
An intentional denial.
That's a good example. So different memories sound a little bit different. They sound like, wow, I don't remember it that way.
Yeah, I thought you were 12, and you say to me, well, I was really 10.
Yeah,
that was what
right.
happened.
Right.
Or you might say, which is something that happened with us a lot when we began to resolve our relationship. It would be like, I didn't realize how that landed with you when I said that or when we did that.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Another one for me was kind of the, oh, geez, you'd say things and I'd be so caught off guard, and I'd sort of think, well, like, let's back up here and get on the same page, and not in an aggressive way, but let me tell you what was going on for me at that time.
And that's really sometimes very hard to hear.
Yeah, because you and I have had some tough conversations where, I had done something maybe I wasn't proud of, and you were mad, and when I came around and said, hey, let me give you all of the background on why I did that.
Yeah.
Here's what I was going through. Here was my mental health at that time. here is, it may not justify it, but it explains it.
But this is a mother and daughter at this time, try on the same team, working something out so that they are on the same team, on the same page, on the same team, even if facts and events are not the way we remember them or not the way we wanted them to be.
Right. And that's okay, too.
Yeah.
Coming to realize, well, hey, that didn't go as we planned. And you and I have had some very funny moments where we just look at each other and go, well, that didn't go as planned.
Yes.
You have to just kind of run with it. But ultimately, you're on the same team. Gaslighting, it sounds like you're making that up.
Yeah, you're such a drama queen. Everything is about you. You're just doing that again, trying to whatever. But gaslighting is about control. It is about control. It is about dismissing the other person. It's about so it's manipulation, and it is hurtful in every way because you are creating a situation where the other person can never be right.
Absolutely. So a really important distinction to remember is that gaslighting isn't about disagreement. It's actually about undermining your trust in yourself. And misremembering is a lot more about, you don't need someone to remember it the same way for your experience to be real.
Yes.
So, here are the things that are really important when you're getting into a situation and starting to think about, what you're going to do with somebody. Really come to terms with what's happening, because sometimes the hardest step is knowing, hey, this person is now not really treating you right,
mm-hmm.
and being kind of fearful of what that means or what you may have to do about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really helpful to get really clear on what's happening. So here's what's going to happen. Come back for our next segment, because in our next segment, what we're going to talk about is that never happened dynamic. Why families do this and the impact it has. So, again, if you do want to call in, the number is 310-371-5459. If you want to look into the Mending Spaces Retreat, go to mendingspacesretreat.com. And always go to Reach Out Recovery and sign up for our newsletters. But don't go away. Come back or stay on, and we will be back in a couple of minutes to break down the rest of this.
There's a place called reachoutrecovery.com, and here there is a wonderful store which has a plethora of transformative books, posters, and downloads for recovery and personal growth. There's fun things with purpose, too, like a gorgeous best-selling coloring book with journal prompts for step work healing, teen guide to health, and workbooks recommended by Oprah's Book Club. Come to reachoutrecovery.com and visit their store. There's bound to be something you, a family member, or a friend can use. Go there now, the store at reachoutrecovery.com.
Audiobooks gives you instant access to over 50,000 of the best sellers and hottest book titles in romance, mystery, fiction, and many other genres. Just visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on Audiobooks to get started.
Leslie and Lindsay Glass offer a curriculum of transformational tools with 3 other books. It's a way to learn information with fun activities, discussions, journaling, and more. Whether you are an individual or a group, these curriculums have been taught successfully in recovery and reentry programs all over the country. The Teen Guide to Health and 100 Tips for Growing Up is perfect for any group working with teens. Leslie and Lindsay can even customize curriculums and teacher trainers. To get more info, use the Contact Us tab at reachoutrecovery.com.
You have too little time to shop, so try Farm Fresh to You. They deliver organic food the way nature intended, delivered straight to your home or office, economically. Visit our web advertiser page and click on Farm Fresh to You now.
Coming from experience, Lindsay and Leslie Glass navigated the rocky waters and found 4 powerful steps that brought back the love after things got broken, providing healing, understanding, and a way to rewrite their story. Now you can rewrite your own story using their acclaimed book, The Mother-Daughter Relationship Makeover. It addresses triggers, traumas, forgiveness, and more. Get your copy of The Mother-Daughter Relationship Makeover at reachoutrecovery.com or wherever fine books are sold. That's reachoutrecovery.com. Stop enabling being codependent and being in a dysfunctional family dynamic. If this sounds like something you need, then reachoutrecovery.com can help. A pioneer in providing wellness information and resources which address not only addiction and recovery, but mental health and relationships. Reachoutrecovery.com is your first stop for help, with over 2,000 easy-to-understand mental health and relationship articles, and award-winning self-help books, courses, and so much more. So don't wait. Visit reachoutrecovery.com and get the help you need now.
Uplifting talk. HealthyLife.net.
Hello, hello, and welcome back to Overcoming Families. All right, in this segment, we're going to talk about that never happened. It's a dynamic that never happened.
So why do families do this and the impact that it has? That's where we're going here.
Okay. So just during the commercial, in between dog vomiting, just kidding, she cleaned up the dog vomit.
And Max is going to say later, that never happened.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't throw up during a radio. He's coughing now.
But you had a really good comment. And you wanted to start with why people rewrite history, and we actually want to start with family roles.
Yeah.
So often in families, and especially in dysfunctional families, I mean, in most families, people have roles.
You have a role in every family.
In every family.
There's the quiet one. There's the drama queen.
Yeah.
There's the selfish one. There's the peacekeeper.
And as it gets more dysfunctional, and that's a little bit where these dynamics lie, the roles become a bit darker.
Yeah.
So what did we have in our house? Somebody was the joker.
The joker.
Somebody was the black sheep.
The black sheep. The scapegoat.
We had a scapegoat.
The truth teller is often the scapegoat.
Yeah. So, that never happened has a lot to do with people protecting their roles.
Yeah.
So sometimes it has to do with distractions.
Yeah.
Throwing sand in the eyes. We know people who used to do that. They would get caught doing something, and then they'd say, but so-and-so did this.
Yes, yes.
And it just created chaos and more infighting throughout the family. It's like, oh, I'm going down. Well, I'm going to take everybody with me.
Yeah.
So another reason people can, kind of do that never happened or change the story, it's kind of a divide and conquer technique.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Well, remember, in every family there's the favorite, there's the family favorite,
mm-hmm.
and then there's the ones that are, kind of left behind.
Mm-hmm.
And there can be a lot of conflict around who's in, who's out.
Absolutely. If there are a lot of siblings, if one, child is treated better than the others, or one child is sort of mistreated and the others are treated better, they can really create a narrative about what happened that isn't
later down the road.
Yeah.
Particularly when it comes to inheritance and who gets to go to good schools and who gets to go to the good schools and who gets to
Dad said I could have it.
Yeah.
No, Mom said I could have it.
Right.
So all of these things, playing favorites, projecting, all of these things have to do in part with family role.
Yeah. And playing one against another. This is very common in families.
Yeah. So in terms of why do families do this, there are a lot of really big reasons. First and foremost, avoiding guilt and shame. So, and it can be about past bad behavior. can be about embarrassment too. Not wanting to acknowledge that you were destructive, abusive, a cheater.
Oh, it's throwing up during radio shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Throwing up at the family events.
That's like, another thing is sometimes people get sober. And they feel they either don't remember or they feel really bad about what happened. And it can be very humiliating for somebody who gets sober and is trying to do the right thing to be reminded of the horrific things they did when they were using.
And family members often do this.
Yeah.
They're going to keep reminding you. Why do they do that?
Well, I think it can go both ways. I think that people can say it didn't happen and people can, not let it go that it did happen.
Not let it go. But it's also protecting the family narrative. And this is the case where you're rewriting history because you don't want to tell something that happened. You don't want to say during X number of years you were a drunk, or you're rewriting history because your a cheating husband is going to do that. Cheating wife.
I think the biggest one in the book is hiding a child's problem or hiding an abuser in the family.
That's very common. Yeah.
So how many families are guilty of hiding an abuser, saying that didn't happen, sacrificing a child?
Yeah.
At the expense of a degenerate parent.
That happens too. Well, let's get into emotional immaturity, and also denying when you're rewriting history and people are arguing about that, what that does for adrenaline and drama.
Yeah, so emotionally immature people are often driven by drama, and I think that that's a good one. But I also want to say, this is also a place going beyond emotional immaturity. People who rewrite history, who gaslight, who have been abusive, this is often where personality disorders lie.
Yeah.
Our borderlines, our bipolars, our narcissists, our cluster Bs, antisocial. People who are antisocial or narcissistic, they will never admit what they did.
No.
It's like trying to herd cats, getting a narcissist to admit that they have been bad or abusive. So, forget about it. It won't even work. They can't deal with it. So what does that all do to the listener is the question.
Well, it makes you're constantly confused. You're constantly confused because you don't know what the reality is. And if you love the people who are rewriting history, you often take the blame on yourself.
Yeah.
And you're not able to resolve these issues ever.
It also turns your emotional pain into a debate.
Always.
And I think you and I both experienced that with each other and with other people, and there's nothing worse than trying to convince somebody that you're really hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so painful. And then, what's the final one?
Keeping families stuck in the same cycle over and over.
And these aren't all the ones. I mean, it can help keep people in addiction. It can help keep people in a traumatized state. If you're doing this to somebody, you really have to acknowledge that you may be re-traumatizing them.
Yeah.
By not letting somebody experience the pain and suffering that they experience, you can really, really hurt somebody. So when somebody denies the past, they're often protecting themselves. They're not telling the truth. But what you need to know is that denial is a defense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make your experience disappear.
Right.
So now we want to, again, take a moment to share that we have some announcements. The Mending Spaces retreat, we are going to be speakers at that. If you are interested in looking into it, please email me at info@reachoutrecovery. We have our book. We are creating a professional resources page for our book where they will be at discount. So please go to reachoutrecovery.com and sign up for our newsletters, or you can always email me at info@reachoutrecovery.com. we really want you to have our books and be seeing all the great things that we do. But most important, come back, because for our final segment tonight, we are going to be giving practical strategies for staying grounded without having to convince them. This is really important, staying grounded, staying balanced, and staying firm in who you are. So, stay with us. We'll be back in a couple minutes for our final segment.
Stop enabling being codependent and being in a dysfunctional family dynamic. If this sounds like something you need, then ReachOutRecovery.com can help. A pioneer in providing wellness information and resources which address not only addiction and recovery, but mental health and relationships. ReachOutRecovery.com is your first stop for help, with over 2,000 easy-to-understand mental health and relationship articles, and award-winning self-help books, courses, and so much more. So don't wait. Visit ReachOutRecovery.com and get the help you need now. Stop enabling being codependent and being in a dysfunctional family dynamic. If this sounds like something you need, then ReachOutRecovery.com can help. A pioneer in providing wellness information and resources which address not only addiction and recovery, but mental health and relationships. ReachOutRecovery.com is your first stop for help, with over 2,000 easy-to-understand mental health and relationship articles, and award-winning self-help books, courses, and so much more. So don't wait. Visit ReachOutRecovery.com and get the help you need now.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
There's a place called ReachOutRecovery.com, and here there is a wonderful store which has a plethora of transformative books, posters, and downloads for recovery and personal growth. There's fun things with purpose, too, like a gorgeous best-selling coloring book with journal prompts for step work healing, teen guide to health, and workbooks recommended by Oprah's Book Club. Come to ReachOutRecovery.com and visit their store. There's bound to be something you, a family member, or a friend can use. Go there now, the store at ReachOutRecovery.com. Leslie and Lindsay Glass offer a curriculum of transformational tools with 3 other books. It's a way to learn information with fun activities, discussions, journaling, and more. Whether you are an individual or a group, these curriculums have been taught successfully in recovery and reentry programs all over the country. The Teen Guide to Health and 100 Tips for Growing Up is perfect for any group working with teens. Leslie and Lindsay can even customize curriculums and teacher trainers. To get more info, use the Contact Us tab at ReachOutRecovery.com.
The bright side of talk. HealthyLife.net.
Okie dokie. Well, welcome back
To Overcoming Family.
It is our final segment. So this is what we're famous for over at Reach Out Recovery, and that is practical strategies, self-help, and practical tips. So what we're going to be talking about for the last segment is basically how you stay grounded without having to convince them, but also how you take care of yourself throughout all of this, because ultimately what we're all about is healing and peace. So you want to jump into what you wanted to talk about first?
Well, I think the most important thing is to understand who is the destabilizer in your family, and to understand who it is, be able to accept that person for who they are and the destruction that they cause. And when you find acceptance, then you can create strategies around it.
So you were talking a lot about acceptance during the break. So what were you saying? You were saying that...
I was saying, speaking of our own family, so Lindsay and I, in Lindsay's growing up family, it was quite dysfunctional. And it was dysfunctional for a lot of different reasons. One of the reasons was it was the boys against the girls, right? And Lindsay and I always felt that we were, that the part of the problem was us, because we would react. We react to the triggers, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that helped us was when we were able to admit and understand that our family was dysfunctional, how it was dysfunctional, and we were able to bond over that and say, oh, it's not us. And after that, years after that, bonding together over the fact that we were often the truth tellers, and family members who rewrite history don't like truth tellers. They're going to beat you up if they
I'll
can.
take it a step further.
Okay.
I think sometimes you have to accept that somebody is who they are.
And they're never going to change.
Never going to change.
Never going to change.
And you may not get what you want.
Yeah.
And how am I going to be okay if I can't get what I want?
Well, this is one of the reasons why there's so much family alienation these days, because people can ultimately run away.
Yeah.
And so, when should you run away?
But for today, let's go over the focus here is internal stability over external validation. So we made a little list.
Okay. Well, the major point is to find peace inside of yourself.
Yeah.
To be able to live in peace.
Yeah.
And so if there is an argument going on about what happened in the past or over memories, don't try and win the argument.
Yeah.
You're never going to win. If you accept that the other person really is invested in keeping that memory different from yours, don't try to change them.
It's the old adage, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right?
Yeah. Well, and the memory argument, you can never win it.
Yeah.
If it's somebody who is, against you,
so
you're never going to win it.
Here's what you can do. You can anchor in what you know, how it affected you, how your body responds now. I actually had a therapist who used to do reality checks with me.
Oh.
I would feel crazy. I would think I wasn't all right, and she would sit down and be like, well, let's do a reality check here of what's really going on in your life. So stay in reality of what happened, how it affected you, how your body responds now. The next thing you can do is use grounding language.
Wow. All right, grounding language. What is grounding language is a communication tool. Like, we remember this differently.
Yes. Or
we remember this differently. Maybe you're right. You may be right.
And communication tools are really important with people who just won't agree with you. And you have to kind of find your confidence with these people and just be able to say things like, look, I'm speaking from my experience.
Yeah.
You may not see it as your experience, but I'm speaking from my experience, and we remember this differently.
And sometimes that is a very, very brave and courageous thing to do.
Yeah.
Because the other person may be, wanting to dominate, wanting to change the conversation, wanting to distract.
And getting a thrill out of all of it.
Getting a thrill out of your discomfort. And if you're not going to show your discomfort and you're just going to say, I'm speaking from my experience, that makes you so mature.
Yeah.
I think it's very, very brave to do that. And I'm not sure that I can always do that.
No, it's hard.
It's really hard.
But here's what you can do. Moving forward, you can decide what conversations are no longer safe to have. So we are giving you permission right now to never have the same conversation again if you don't want to.
Yep.
If there's somebody that won't see things the way you will, if you're having a painful, re-traumatizing conversation, this is your permission slip to never have that conversation again.
Well, let's talk a little bit about gray rocking, because people who rewrite history, they're not going to just rewrite history about what you did last summer. They're going to be rewriting history about whether you cleaned up the kitchen, about whether you forgot the groceries, all of these different things. So when you think about conversations that are no longer safe to have, it's more giving yourself permission to say this guy or this girl or this mother or this daughter is always going to be doing this, and I have to be able to accept the fact this is who this person is. It's not me.
Yeah.
It's just not me.
That leads us perfectly into our last couple of minutes here, which is we always want you to do healthy living and take care of yourself no matter what's going on with your family. You know, if you're listening to us, you've probably had some family issues. You might have had some trauma. You might have had some other issues. And, you know, we're always going to focus on how can you take care of yourself through this.
And I would say it again and again and again. It's really important to find understanding and acceptance both of who you are, what your reality is, and who the other person is, and what they're trying to do.
Yes.
Conquer you.
But if that's driving you crazy, you can also exercise, you can cook, you can read self-help books, you can lean into your spiritual practice or your religion and really go to those things, look to those areas to feel better about yourself. You can build a lot of self-confidence by taking good care of your body and your mind.
Right. And Lindsay, just talk for 1 second about gray rocking.
Well, gray rocking, if you do have somebody who's being very difficult in your life, gray rocking is when you basically are as boring as possible. It is a technique where you just give them nothing to respond to. If they pick on you, you don't react. If they try and start a fight, you don't respond. And you have these statements ready to go, like, I'm really sorry, I'm not up to talking about that today. Or I really don't see it that way, you know, but really shutting them down over and over and over. And, you know, if you need some practice with this stuff, check out our books. We have books and workbooks that teach healthy communication skills.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, this really comes down to your ability to have healthy communication skills. Because if other people can't, you still can.
That's right.
Like, it's up to you. So, again, Mending Spaces has 3 spots left for their mother-daughter retreat in May in Lake Tahoe. If you are interested, email me at info@reachoutrecovery.com. Please go to our website, check out all our articles, check out our books, and always take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, communicate as healthy as possible.
Yes, and have compassion.
Yeah, don't let the haters bring you down.
Yeah.
All right. Have a great night.
And a great month. We'll see you soon.